For this month's Think Table, we delve deeper into the economics of migration. This is a hotly debated issue, but research is pretty clear. Immigrants make up 14% of the US population, and it's estimated that a 1% increase of immigrants leads to a 1.15% increase in US GDP. Immigrants and their children are a huge economic driving force. 55% of billion-dollar startups in the US are founded by immigrants. But also undocumented immigrants are a huge driving force for the economy. It's estimated that if we were to deport 11 million undocumented immigrants, it would lead to an $8 trillion loss in US GDP over 14 years.
For decades, economists and beyond have looked at the topic of migration just in terms of labor markets. Are migrants taking the jobs of the natives or lowering their wages and so on? But there's such a much bigger areas of study about all the gains that migrants bring. So we know that all the worries about works, they just are not there. I mean, the evidence doesn't show that migrants take the jobs of the natives and so on, but there's so much more. Migrants are entrepreneurial. Migrants are innovators. Migrants connect countries through trade and investment. And I think that I'm lucky to be part of a group of people that are looking at all these gains for migration that just go much beyond that little aspect of labor and work.
We're lucky to have a conversation with one of America's most well-known immigrant entrepreneurs, star chef José Andrés. José, tell us a little bit about your immigrant experience coming from Spain.
So I guess my immigrant story is like the story of many. I will tell you very quickly the story on first time I came to America, way before my immigrant arrival. I came as a sailor with the Spanish Navy, and I came with a beautiful boat called Juan Sebastián del Cano, the training ship for the midshipmen of the Spanish Navy. And I still remember arriving to Pensacola in beautiful Florida, where actually the day we arrived, they were celebrating the 5 flags. Happens one of them was the Castilian Spanish flag. It's the moment you say, hey, I kind of belong here. But I think the moment that really changed my perception of the meaning of American immigration was when we arrived to New York Harbor. Still I remember I was very high up on the mast of this beautiful tall ship that I came with. And right there was Ellis Island and the Lady Liberty. That night we were anchored off Manhattan. And that night, with many boats that were coming to see us close, I could see all these beautiful American flags. That night, looking at the beautiful night sky full of stars, inside me, not knowing any better, for a second I really thought that the stars in the American flag equal that beautiful night sky, where when you look at it, you only thought about possibilities, about freedom, that everything was possible. So my immigrant story was that, the firm belief that in America, anybody, everyone is welcome. Anybody can make it if you work hard and you commit to move this country forward.
Migrants play a huge role in being more entrepreneurial and doing a lot of more inventions than their peers in the local economies. And I think that the conventional wisdom explaining that is that the act of migrating itself is a risk-taking act. And just imagine you're living to a new country where often you don't know the language, when you don't know people, and just saying, I just want to make it in this other country and contribute and make it better for me and my family and for everybody. And that risk-taking attitude is a key component of new ventures and of inventions. And I think that you see that so clearly in the data that there's no way that you can ignore the fact that migrants are creating jobs and creating more innovation rather than the contrary.
What we can do better is to recognize that immigration equals national security. And this is a very deep issue, but very simple to understand. Right now, we have many men and women, millions of them, that they are working in many parts across America, making sure that America keeps being productive. Today, we have a shortage of visas. We have many businesses, big, small, and medium-sized, all across America, that their complaint is always the same. We don't have enough workers to fulfill our production needs.
Some of the biggest misconceptions that we see all the time are very much based on this idea that there is a fixed amount of jobs in the economy, and that they all have to go to the Americans or to the local population, and if migrants come, are going to take from that little set of jobs. And that's a huge misconception, because jobs are not like an apple. Jobs grow, and what you want in your economy is to have people who are creating jobs, and that's actually what migrants do in much higher frequency than locals. I think that we need to be smart about how we're going to see migration in the next few decades. And what I would tell the next president of the United States is that the US has a huge role in leading the world.
Immigration is undoubtedly positively linked to the US economy. Immigrants are entrepreneurs, innovators, small business owners. Study after study shows that even undocumented immigrants contribute billions of dollars to the US economy. If you want to learn more about this and many other social justice issues, follow us on Instagram @ImmigrantFood, join our newsletter where each week we'll send you 5 ways that you can contribute and help the immigrant community, and join us here at the restaurant and stay united at the table.